Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video, we just got a quick news video here to discussing a couple of signings that happened from over the past couple of days and a couple of small trades I missed from over the past few days as well. We'll get to all of that coming up right now. Hello everyone, welcome back to this video here at the NHL channel. Before we get this video, don't forget to like this video and subscribe down below. Thank you for your support. We're able to with all of you guys. So if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe button down below. Don't forget to comment down in the comment section below so we can discuss today's video. Now, as usual, I'm going to start today's video off by discussing some signings. We had 9 signings over the past 3 days. So some interesting signings from the past few days. So we'll get to all of those here. First, the LA Kings have extended forward Alex Turcotte. Turcotte, who's a center, the 5th overall pick in 2019, gets a 3-year contract extension with the AV of $775,000 that begins to start next year. Turcotte's played some sparse times in the ANHL. He's been mostly an AHL player. Not this year, but last year put up 6 goals and 17 points in 32 AHL games. Also had no points in 4 NHL games. This past year, 10 goals and 29 points in 35 NHL games. And also had a goal and 4 points in 20 NHL games before getting injured. He looks like a pretty good prospect. I think eventually could be a solid third-line center. He's definitely run into his fair share of injuries over the past little while, so that's interesting to note. And yeah, I'm on a 3-year deal at only $775 for his potential. I think it's a very fantastic piece of work there for the LA Kings, so that's a solid sign there for LA. Then we saw the Boston Bruins sign one of their RFAs, an RFA right-shot defenseman Ian Mitchell, who was acquired from the Taylor Hall trade last year, gets a 1-year contract extension with the AV of $775,000 that began to start next year. Mitchell 2 years ago with Chicago put up a goal and 8 points in 35 NHL games and also had 2 goals and 6 points in 5 AHL games. This past year with Boston had 2 assists in 13 NHL games and also had 6 goals and 24 points in 42 AHL games. Looks like a pretty good player, 6th, 7th defenseman. I think, especially with the Bruins potentially needing to make some moves on the defensive end, I think this could be a really good sign there for Mitchell to potentially be like this defenseman for the next couple of years. So it's a solid sign there for the Bruins. Then we saw Nick DeSimone, who was a pending UFA, someone who the Devils claimed off of waivers from Calgary, signed an extension in New Jersey, a 1-year contract extension, one way, with an AV of $775,000 that we're going to start next year. DeSimone's been a pretty good player over the past couple of years, put up 8 goals and 46 points in 65 games 2 years ago with the AHL affiliates of the Calgary Flames. Also had no points in 4 NHL games. This past year had 8 assists in 10 AHL games. Also playing 34 NHL games with the Flames and Devils combined, putting up 2 goals and 7 points. Looks like a pretty good player, and I think he's currently a solid spare forward, maybe depth forward there for the Devils, so solid sign there for New Jersey. Then we saw the LA Kings sign RFA Samuel Fagemo, who's a winger, to a 1-year contract extension with a $775,000 that we're going to start next year. Now, Fagemo had an interesting way to get back to the LA Kings this year. 2 years ago, he put up 2 goals and 3 points in 9 NHL games, and also 23 goals and 32 points in 56 NHL games. Fagemo was placed on waivers early in the season, claimed by Nashville. Nashville placed him back on waivers, and LA claimed him back, so he did spend a little bit of time in Nashville, but he's still in LA right now. In 8 games of NHL action with the Preds and the Kings, he put up 1 goal, and then he also put up 43 goals and 62 points in 50 AHL games. So he looks like eventually could be a solid bottom 6, maybe even middle 6 forward there for the Kings on like a 3rd or 2nd line. So that's a pretty good solid sign there for the Kings. Then we saw the Boston Bruins sign eventual backup goaltender Brendan Bussi. Bussi, who was an undrafted player, he was an RFA. He gets a 1-year contract extension with the AV of $775,000 that we're going to start next year. Bussi 2 years ago played in the AHL 32 games, put up a 2.40 GAA and a 924 save percentage. Also played 4 ECHL games, picking up a 2.50 GAA and a 922 save percentage. This year, played in 41 games over in the AHL, picking up a 2.67 GAA and a 913 save percentage. With Korpisalo as the backup right now, I don't think Boston's going to rush him, and I think Bussi maybe gets 1 more year at the AHL level, but won't be overly surprised if in the next couple of years Bussi's the backup to Jeremy Swayman, so it's a pretty good sign there for the Boston Bruins. Then we saw the Utah franchise sign Ben McCartney, who's one of their RFAs. McCartney, who was a 2020 7th round pick of the Arizona Coyotes, gets a 1-year contract extension with the AV of $775,000 that we're going to start next year. McCartney 2 years ago played in the AHL affiliate for Arizona, putting up 7 goals and 15 points in 45 AHL games. This past year, played 46 AHL games, putting up 6 goals and 22 points. Looks like eventually could be a solid bottom 6 forward there for Utah. It's a pretty good and solid sign there for Utah. And then we saw a couple of signs happen earlier today for the recording of this video. We saw all Senators sign Wyatt Bongiovanni, who they acquired just past the deadline from the Winnipeg Jets. He gets a 1-year contract extension with the AV of $775,000 that we're going to start next year. He's never played in the NHL level before. Bongiovanni played in 56 AHL games 2 years ago, putting up 13 goals and 18 points. This year, played in 48 AHL games, putting up 16 goals and 25 points. Looks like a very fantastic player there for the Senators, and I think eventually should be a solid call-up option there for Ottawa, so solid signing there for the Senators. And then we got two massive signings earlier today. The Winnipeg Jets were able to extend UFA defenseman DeMelo. A lot of people thought DeMelo was going to be one of the hottest players on the free agent market this year. Well, he indeed signed a 4-year contract extension with the Jets with an AV of $4.9 million that began to start next year. That's a very fantastic signing there for the Jets. DeMelo's been a really good, solid top 4 right-shot defenseman for the Jets ever since coming over from Ottawa, and he's worked out fantastically, and he does get a bit of a raise here. So DeMelo 2 years ago played in 75 games at the NHL level, put up 6 goals and 27 points. This past year had 3 goals and 31 points, which is a career high for him in 82 games. So he looked fantastic, solid defensive defenseman, but can also put up some offensive points. So pretty good, solid stuff there for DeMelo, and I think this is a pretty good signing for him. And he's going to be able to remain in Winnipeg long term, or at least for the next 4 years. Meanwhile, for the Colorado Avalanche, they signed RFA forward Casey Mittlestadt. We know that the Avalanche needed to extend Mittlestadt. He was one of their RFAs. Mittlestadt gets a 3-year contract extension with an AAV of $5.75 million, which is a decent raise from his $2.5 million AAV he had this past year. So it's a solid signing there for the Avalanche. 2 years ago, Mittlestadt had 15 goals and 59 points in 82 games with the Buffalo Sabres. This past year had a career high 18 goals and also put up 57 points in 80 games with the Sabres and the Avalanche combined. Looked fantastic. Also had 3 goals and 9 points in 11 playoff games and looked fantastic there too. So I think the $5.75 million AAV is a pretty good deal for Mittlestadt, and that also takes him to UFA status. So in 3 years when that contract ends, he'll be a UFA. So it's a solid sign there for the Avalanche to extend their second line center and keep Mittlestadt in the fold for the next couple of years. That's a solid sign there for the Avalanche to keep Mittlestadt. And then we also have a couple of small prospect for prospect trades. It was just a couple of prospect swaps. We saw the Minnesota Wild acquire Graham Clark from the Minnesota Wild, his signing rights, in exchange for Adam Beckman. For the Wild, they get Graham Clark, who's a right winger / center, a 2019 third round pick of the New Jersey Devils. This past year was able to get into 3 NHL games, put up no points. Also had 49 points in 67 AHL games. Looks like eventually could be a solid bomb 6-4 there for the Wild. So it's a pretty good trade there for Minnesota, but I think the Devils do get the better player here in Adam Beckman, who's a left winger, also a 2019 third round pick. Beckman's been playing parts of the seasons over the past couple of years at the NHL level. This past year, though, played in 11 NHL games, putting up 2 assists, and also had 19 goals and 33 points in 51 NHL games. Looks eventually could be a solid 4th, 3rd line winger there for the Devils. So interesting prospect swap, but the Devils get Beckman and the Wild get Clark. Meanwhile, the Predators and Sharks also made a prospect swap. The Nashville Predators acquired Isiah Wiesblatt from the San Jose Sharks in exchange for Igor Afanasyev. Now for the Predators, Wiesblatt, who was a 2020 first round pick, the last pick of that draft, who's currently in the final year of his ELC, has been playing decently over the past little while, had 15 points in 45 AHL games 2 years ago, had 17 points in 50 AHL games this year, so looks like eventually could be a solid middle 6-4 there for the Nashville Predators. It's a solid pickup there for Nashville. Meanwhile, the San Jose Sharks get Igor Afanasyev. Afanasyev, who's a center left winger, a 2019 second round pick, who's currently an RFA. Afanasyev this past couple of years has actually gone to some NHL games. 2 years ago had 17 NHL games of experience, had a goal, also had 13 goals and 26 points in 57 AHL games. This past year, nearly a point per game, putting up 27 goals and 54 points in 56 AHL games, and also gone to 2 NHL games, putting up no points. Might still need a year or 2 in the AHL, but he's a solid player who I think eventually could be a solid, like, third line forward there for the Sharks. So solid, decent swap there for the Sharks and the Preds, as the Preds get Wiesblatt and the Sharks get Afanasyev. So some interesting moves from over the past couple of days. We saw a couple of prospect swaps with the Preds and the Sharks, as well as the Devils and the Wild, and we saw 9 interesting signings, including Mittlestadt and DeMelo in Colorado and Winnipeg. So definitely, let's hear your thoughts on all of this down in the comment section below. What do you think about all these signings? Are you surprised that DeMelo didn't go to free agency? Are you surprised that Mittlestadt gets an AAV of over $5 million? And are you surprised with these 2 small prospect deals? Definitely love to hear your thoughts on all of that. Plus, don't forget to stay tuned for my live draft video at 4 p.m. Pacific time on Friday, I think 9 a.m. Pacific time on Saturday, and then one on Monday for free agency. Plus, don't forget to stay tuned for more videos, as we got more videos coming up over the next while. Definitely love to hear your thoughts on all of that down in the comment section below. So I'm going to talk about for today, or until this video, and if you're like to subscribe down below. Thank you for your support with all of you guys. So if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe button down below. Don't forget to leave a comment down in the comment section below discussing all those discussed in today's video. Also, blog talk about news, rumors, analysis, stuff like that. So check that out. I'll leave a link down in the description below, and kind of see you guys all for next video. See you guys soon.